end. Next question up is from Marta. So, do you have tips on where or what to read about writing ads for a therapist? They say, I myself am tired of all the ads popping up. If you're like me, if you are this and that, do you recognize this in you? And I mean, these things all sound very familiar to me as well, right? So, where and what to read about writing the ads for a therapist, how to design them. We've kind of covered a piece of that already, but I'm curious what else there is in this context. And a place using Facebook or meta ads is explained easily. Okay. They're going through the starter kit and got your ebook, The Top 10 Blunders Holistic Practitioners Make. Yep. And they just started it. So, a recap, where and what to read about writing ads for a therapist, how to design these ads, and I guess the last question is about finding more about Facebook and Meta ads, how to actually make them happen.
Okay, so I'm just searching on my, here we go. So I've got an article on my website, which I think may be helpful. It's marketingforhippies.com/marketing dash for FOR dash therapists. So marketingforhippies.com/marketing dash for dash therapists. There's some thoughts on that. It's an old article. I might update it someday, but the very first thing I would say is we've got to question the question, because the assumption is, okay, how do you write ads? But are ads the right thing? Is this really the best approach for a therapist? And let's go back to the basics, which is, okay, so this therapist wants more clients. So then the question is, what's the best way to get more clients as a therapist? Ads can be one, but there's lots of other ways to do it. If I were a therapist, I don't know if I'd even be doing ads at all. I might, but I'd probably be doing as many talks as I could. I'd be doing presentations to like-minded groups. Just getting in front of people, letting people get a sense of my vibe. If I was working online, I'd be doing Zoom calls. I'd be doing interviews on podcasts. I'd be doing much more of that. Having a kind of signature workshop that Bradley Morris from magicmedia.com talks about, MAJIK, magic. But okay, so that's just the first thing is if this person is sick of seeing ads and doesn't want to play that game of doing ads, you just don't need to. It's not required. There's other ways to do this. But if you're going to write it, okay, so this question, right, hey, can you relate to this? Or are you going through this experience? So it's, first of all, there's so many things to say. The thing we're looking at there is relevance, right? That's what is trying to be established in a statement like that, is some kind of relevance. If we're not in that situation, it's good to remember that it's going to land differently than if we are. If we're not in the exact situation of that ad, we see it just as an ad. That's not relevant to me at all. That has no purpose in my life. That's how we relate to it. But if you're in that experience, you read it very differently. You read it as, oh, that maybe this would be useful for me. Now, you might be cynical about ads, but at least it's like, okay, they are talking about the problem I have, and they've really named the situation. So let me actually, I'm just going to pull this up from, this is I'm going to do a little screen share quick thing on a presentation I've done on niching. I've done some stuff on copywriting on my website, and trying to see, I think maybe under my articles, I have some stuff on copywriting. I think I might. But it's at some point I'm going to do a webinar and do some, yes, I do. So if you go to marketingforhippies.com/best-articles/copywriting, or just go under the free stuff, find the best articles, and you'll see it. Yeah, you'll find a bunch of stuff. So let me just pull this up here. There we go. Okay. So screen share. Okay, so first of all, okay, so on my website under free stuff, best articles, copywriting, and then you're going to see, there it is. There's just 3 quick essays on copywriting that are probably worth taking a look at. And then if we go here, let's skip to a number of these. Okay. What?
Well, that's convenient. How appropriate.
Okay. So this is Jeff from our membership, and divorcedaddy.com. That's his website. So, if you read this and you're not a divorced dad, this is going to seem over the top. This is going to seem histrionic, a little too aggressive. But if you're a dad going through a divorce, or who's, in the ashes of it, this probably lands as very real. Yeah. Divorce is war sounds like, oh God, why would you bring war into it? Well, you haven't been divorced, I guess. You haven't gone through a bitter divorce. That's why you're asking the question. So even in the way it's written, I think that's very likely for his person, for the right father, that's going to land. And they're going to say, this guy gets it, which is, that's part of what we're going for. When we're writing a headline is like, oh, they get it. Not they're trying to sell me something. They get it. They've got something interesting to say. Nisanka, our lovely Nisanka from the membership. Yeah, are you parenting with a narcissistic partner? There you go. Or X, yeah. It's the number of times I've shared this in workshops, this one. So this is the kind of thing that was lifted up in the question. Right, this type of statement. But I can tell you, when I've read this out, I've had people say, what was her name? What was the website? And so that's how you know you're getting it. But again, if you are not co-parenting with a narcissistic partner or ex, this is just an ad. Oh, this is one of those things, right? Creating a home that can help you heal. This is Megan Montero in our membership. Do you have chronic illness like chronic fatigue, chronic pain, or an autoimmune condition? So again, if you don't have it, it's just another ad. But if you have it, I do have one of those conditions, and you're likely to want to scroll down, keep reading. Larissa Noonan, who's in my mentorship, right? You want to be a witchy healer, but you grew up in a fundamentalist homework culture. Now, the thing I want to flag about these ones that I think work so well is they're dealing with very specific situations. Yeah. This is not something broad like, do you want to be healthier? Want to feel more empowered? But you'll notice that the broader the niche is, the more like an ad or an infomercial it sounds. The more it just sounds like a pitch, the more it sounds like, oh, I'm reading an ad. But as you get to very specific situations, it sounds less and less like that, because it's just, hey, all you're asking is, are you in this situation very specifically? Right. I love this. Joe Byron Martin, who was with Fred and I in London at the retreat there. Right. A relationship therapist. What happened to us? Can you believe this? 4 words. She nails it in a question. What happened to us? And the wilted flower, therapeutic coaching for couples in crisis. So I like this because this, it's so evocative and it's clear somehow at the same time, which is a huge win. And it's not, when I read that, I'm not thinking, oh, here's an ad. Alex Baisley, I mean, this is just definitely not written like an ad. An impromptu wander around the kitchen, invitation to check on my big dream program, the topic of life purpose, life direction, finding your calling, or put more simply, figuring out what the sweet holy fuck am I going to do next with my life is a big question for you these days. This program's about that. I mean, that's a long fucking sentence. Which I wouldn't normally recommend. But it also doesn't land like an ad, but it's clear what it is in one paragraph. Okay, I know what this video is going to be about. Okay, that was it. So let's stop that. So I got so many opinions about writing a good ad, writing a good headline. Um, you just want the headline to be something that your ideal client would read and say, "Oh my God, that's me." And if you're a service provider, right, trying to get people from A to B, you don't have it be about the boat. You don't say, uh, you don't talk about how great your boat is and we got this boat. You talk about, hey, are you this kind of person in this situation and you want this result? We can help. You speak to that as clearly as you can. And I do. Why is this? I have one article, and I just was realizing it wasn't on that page about copywriting page, which I should add it, is copywriting. It's an article on copywriting for hippies. Yeah, 9 thoughts on copywriting for hippies. I have to add this to my copywriting page. And so if you go to my website, marketingforhippies.com, oh gosh, it's 9 thoughts on copywriting 4 hippies. But if you just put in the search bar 9 thoughts on copywriting for hippies, you'll see it come up. And I wrote this years ago, but I think it still stands. But there's a number of things. Some basics on copywriting. You'll see the 9 thoughts. First thought is it's not about the sale. We're not trying to convince people to buy. That's not the purpose of copywriting. Right? You can remove the hype triggers like all caps, exclamation marks, universals like all, every, never are likely to trigger people to be like, oh, I'm getting sold to right now. So there's a number of things there. Tell stories. This immediately changes an ad from being a pitch to just something they can listen to. Number 4, sleep on it. Trust your gut. If you're going to write something, don't, take the time. Number 5, be yourself. And you'll see a number of examples. I don't know how many of these websites are still up because this is old, but there's some more examples of this, of what this can look like. Right, learn about the art of copywriting. Oh, I don't even know if this sales, actually this one isn't even still available. But you can just learn. There's lots of people teaching copywriting out there. We've got Lauren Van Molen in our membership. Truer Words by Lauren.com is her website. And so you can learn. There are people who can teach you this stuff, some of the basics. Right, you can use warm words versus pushy words. So there's certain words like, these that are certain that will take some of the pressure and the heat out of the text. Remember, it's not about the words; it's about the idea. This is so key. I don't care how good your copywriting skills are if you've got a shitty idea. If first of all, if the niche isn't clear, and if the offer is not really a good, clear, compelling offer, I don't care how great your sales copy is. And then last but not least, it's not about the words, it's about the messenger is really important. As long as your words are okay, if you get a hub who loves you, they're very well connected to and respected by the people you want to reach, and they endorse you, that does most of the lifting. I think sometimes we think, oh, I got to just write the sales copy so it's just so perfect and slick. But I would rather you have just a clear niche, a really good offer idea, and good hubs plus shitty copy. I'd rather that than miss those 3 things and have great copy. Because then you read that copy and it sounds like a sales letter. And you can't find the substance to it, it's so slippery and there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of false promises and all this. So there's no point of view in it. So much of this comes back to, here's the thing. If you want to have your sales copy work, it comes back to these fundamentals, right? Ethics. Just you're going for the truth of, is this a fit, not going for the sale. Niche, you're not trying to reach everybody. Point of view is huge in writing good sales copy. Having a business model, this is having good offers, having a clear something that people might want to buy. And then hubs, making sure that sales copy is also shared by people already connected to your people. when people think about copywriting as, separate from like copywriting is like the tip of this, that's up here. It's like the pitch, selling, sales copy is just the very tip of this thing. It's not the whole thing. It's not the major thing. It is good sales copy is the result of these five things. That's what makes
Mm.
the sales copy work. It's the kind of epiphenomenon of the thing. It's not that you don't go directly for good sales copy. You work on these things. And to the extent that you have these in place, your sales copy will work better. And to the extent that you don't, it won't. And the reason I wanted to share this is because if you miss those things, if those are all gone, what you're left with is you need height, you need pressure, you need the pitch. You need, like, here, I'm going to show this video. I show this in my live workshops. Fred's already seen this. But this is one of these, I just couldn't even believe that this, okay, one sec. Okay, I gotta, you remember this one, Fred? Yeah. Now, I think I just also need to, we'll refresh that in a second. I think I need to make sure I'm sharing computer audio. Yes, share computer sound. Okay. So I'm going to refresh this. Everyone listen and be appalled.
Tips to get people to say yes to you more often. Have you ever wondered how some people can get other people to say yes to them all the time? Studies show that by phrasing things in a certain way, you can trigger something called automatic mindless compliance. Isn't that crazy town? It's the difference between those who fail and those who flourish. And here's how you can do it easily with these three things. Number one, have a pleasing personality. Studies show that if you can get people to relax around you, or if you're a speaker, to get the audience to relax at the beginning of your message, they will become highly suggestible. The second way to trigger automatic mindless compliance is to reduce uncertainty. The way you can do this is elegantly weave in results you've gotten, people that you've worked with, or why you are an authority on this subject. Number three, motivate them to action. Nothing moves people more than urgency and scarcity. So if you're an entrepreneur or a speaker and want to motivate more people to say yes, then click the link below. Here.
It's so terrible.
That's crazy town, all right.
I know. Totally. Isn't that crazy town? Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Eileen. So, right. So if you don't have the pyramid, if you don't have those pillars in place, the fundamentals, that's what you're left with. You're left with those sorts of tactics, the scarcity, the urgency, the pleasing personality, all the manipulations. So I don't know if this has answered the question at all, but here's where we went.
I was having a chat with a colleague today who introduced me to within the paid chat GPT thing, there's actually like a wee bot that you can use that's dedicated to helping out with Facebook advertising. I think it does writing the ads as well, but it'll also tell you the actual steps to go through for the mechanics of where to put the data and how you set the thing up and things like this. And I'm also reminded, like, from myself, I'm so grateful to have met the people and have the support that I did through the Marketing for Hippies membership. I've like with the copy, what were the copy clinics and are now the copy creation calls or something like this. Having like a group of people around you to look over your work, to make comments on it, to figure out which text is extraneous, what it sounds like from another person's perspective. Think about, I know if this is for me or not. Do I understand what this is about? Like having like somebody outside of my own head to help with that was so valuable. And to be able to pick up tips from people who have written copy successfully as well, who'll go through and say, hey, maybe consider rephrasing it like this. Like, what an absolute gem of a resource. And also within the membership, finding people who can do the advertising, who know how to do the Facebook ads, the meta ads, and already do them for their living, and just ask them some questions, because people are really friendly and helpful. Hippies is good.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right, question number 3, I guess.